Hello there, Neil from Small Business Big Ideas here in a different venue, as you can see. Coming to you today with day 31 of my 101 small business marketing tips. Today I want to talk to you about advertising on LinkedIn. This is especially good, well, LinkedIn is obviously especially good if you are targeting a business-to-business audience, but actually it's very good as well, potentially if you're dealing with consumers, but assuming they are more professional, managerial sort of consumers, then that's when LinkedIn really does come into its own. I think the majority of people who are on LinkedIn will be using only the free service, and myself, for many years, for most of the time, I've just used that, although recently I've started to use the paid additional services. And I think if you are in a sales role for a business-to-business organisation, then you really should have a look at the paid-for options such as Sales Navigator, because that gives you a lot of targeting options for growing your connections or messaging people directly, which you just don't get with the free option. It's not cheap. The Sales Navigator will cost you, if you pay monthly, about £60 a month, slightly less if you pay for 12 months in advance, but if you use it well, and really to justify it, you need to be using it pretty much every day and making LinkedIn a core part of your sort of sales prospecting armory, then it can actually deliver you some quite powerful results. Before you do anything with that, I would strongly suggest you spend some time to make sure your LinkedIn profile is optimized so that it's most attractive to people when they do click on your profile. That's something that you can get help with. I can help with that, but you can also go online and find training. There's free training available. There are paid courses, if you go on to the likes of Udemy and the like, which will help you to get your LinkedIn profile as attractive and interesting and engaging as possible, so that when someone does come to visit your profile, they check you out and find out exactly what you can do. So that's LinkedIn generally. This topic is about LinkedIn advertising, and having used LinkedIn advertising myself, there are a number of options that it offers you. The three main options are to do essentially what a Facebook ad would be, to have a sponsored story which pops up in people's feeds. You can then have what's the equivalent of the Facebook sort of right-hand column ad, or you can have what they call sponsored in-mail. I've tried on a couple of occasions with the sort of sponsored stories and also the in-mail. The targeting options for LinkedIn used to be not great compared to Facebook, but they are getting better. So it's not as sophisticated targeting as Facebook gives you in terms of interests, but certainly in terms of targeting people by location or job role or industry sector, then you can certainly do that. The one problem that I have with both of the types of advertising through LinkedIn, and it's not just me that's experienced it, it is typically a view that is held, is that in terms of the response that you get and the clicks that you get, it is incredibly expensive. You are talking about £5 a click for a sponsored story or sponsored ad. With the in-mail, because it's essentially it's like a direct message, but it's a direct message where you don't actually have to be connected to someone. So you pay for reads and opens, but you could be talking about something like £1 for every read or open, which if you've got a small, highly targeted, highly refined list to target, then that could be fine. Oh, the light's gone off. Hello, the light went off in the room there. I think it must be on a sensor. Anyway, we were talking about InMail. If your list is small and highly refined and highly targeted, and you have got a specific message with a strong call to action, then it might be worth testing and spending a little bit of money on InMail. But it is expensive. You could effectively write and post a nice direct mail letter to the targeted customer for less than it would probably cost you to get through InMail, and I would suggest that may well get further cut through and stand out than doing it electronically through LinkedIn. It's a shame, really, that the one thing that does put people off LinkedIn or advertising on LinkedIn is the cost. Hopefully it will come down, because I think if it comes down, then take-up will increase, and I think it is quite a sophisticated platform, and certainly for a business-to-business audience it could work well. And I think if Facebook becomes too cluttered or too expensive, then I think LinkedIn is potentially waiting in the wings to occupy that space, but it won't do that until it sorts its prices out. So that's it for today. I think LinkedIn is great. I love it. I use it every day, but I don't necessarily pay to advertise on it. What I do is I pay to access more sophisticated features than you just get with a free account. So what I'd suggest is not necessarily using their paid advertising platform, but what I would do is have a look at potentially upgrading your account, and rather than spending 60 quid a month on advertising through LinkedIn, have a look at the possibility of seeing whether you can get a positive return through using all of their quite sophisticated sales navigator functions. One thing actually I would, it's just come to mind, one thing that I think could turbocharge that is if you do pay for the likes of the Sales Navigator, then there are tools available. One that I have used is something called Linked Helper. Again, you have to pay for this. This is a Chrome plugin add-on to your Chrome browser, and what that does, it allows you to automate your connection requests to a targeted list on LinkedIn, and it also allows you to automate messaging. So I think some people have strong opinions about automating it. I absolutely strongly agree with people who say you should be sending personalized messages. So when you are inviting people to connect with you, you need to put their name at the start of the message, and the message needs to be relevant to them. You're not just sending out a very generic connection. Sending a personalised connection request absolutely does make a difference, but the likes of Linked Helper can help you do that, and can automate the process and speed it up so that you can make far more connections in a much quicker time. So if you value your time, then it's worth spending the few dollars that it costs you every month to gain access to that. I don't use all of the features and the functions of Linked Helper because some of them are too automatic, and it takes that personal human element out of it. But it is quite a sophisticated little bolt-on. But it's only really worth doing if you are committed to LinkedIn as part of your business generation strategy. So tips for today, I would say make sure your profile is as good as it could be. have a look at the paid options for LinkedIn, and if you are doing that, then perhaps have a look at a plugin or something like Linked Helper, which can speed the process up a hell of a lot. So that's it for today. I hope you got some benefit out of it, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, bye.